So, welcome to today's production stream. Um, Basically, what we're going to do today is a score system for the game. So every time that the player, let's give a little example here. Every time, let's say that the player goes into one of these color totems. So let me get the red here, and you plug into one of these. You would essentially get a point for that color. And you might also have little other activities to do around the world, little challenges, little things to break, stuff like that. That will give a smaller amount. And essentially what you would have to do is, if I escape here, you would want to get the adequate amount of score that is required to open these big doors that are reliant on the score rather than the smaller doors that are reliant on these kind of totems. And as we have it right now, you can see that there's these text blocks here. I've started a tiny bit of production on it, but I'm not too far in. So, for example, if I go to the character, there we go. I believe I have it here. If I don't, it must be in the game instance, which... where would it be? There we go. An instance. Here we go. So we got the color score here just as a structure, which basically has 3 floats, meaning the score for each color. And a couple other things such as this door, which needs the proper compare score code. Similar to the compare totems that we have here, checking the totems and the whatever color is active between the totem and the requirements of the door. So let's get started. First things first, I actually want to give score based on when you add the color to the totem. So let's start with that. So we have the connector entered. This basically activates the color in the totem. And in this case, I think we'll go directly and add a function that adds the score that we could call from, let's say, the game mode or the game instance. Once again, I can't remember if I've done that before. I don't think, no, maybe, no. So there's none in here. Maybe in the game mode. Let's see here. We got an equipment one, so I don't think I did anything, which is good. We got some content for today. All right. So I wonder if I could cast to the game instance from the totem and do it there. So let's try that. Nope. Turn on. Oh, let me turn on the light here so I can see stuff. Instance, perfect. And if we get the game instance, yeah. All right. So we could do that. Pretty simple. All right. So we're going to figure this out a bit later. Now that we know that that is possible, let's put that aside and actually make the score addition function here. New function. So basically, wherever I could add wherever I need to add the score, I can just call this and it'll do it for me. So super simple. Let's do this. Let's break the, whoop. Oh, it's for each. Why is it a for each? Or not for each. Why is it an array? I think it's just defaulted to being an array. I don't think it's meant to be. Change that real quick. There we go. And now, hopefully that didn't mess anything up. I don't think I'm calling it from anywhere, so that should be fine. Break this into our score like that. And all we need to do is add let's plug in our inputs first. It'll be a lot easier. So this will be our color. I have a enumeration for that, so go or not. Hello. There we go. And the amount. And there we go. For some reason, I have to do it twice. So let's do a switch on enum to detect which one it's going to be, and simply add the amount to whichever it's going to be. So not only that, we could also actually no, it's for structures. It's like this. It's kind of weird. Set member. Like that. The red. The red. Okay. Paste a couple of these. Spend this, which is gonna, yeah. Boom. Green and blue. And essentially, that should be it for the, once I plug these in, should be it for the adding score code. Green into the green. Again, with the amount. And blue, amount, and blue. So that should be that. Any other, like maybe visuals, or let's say the HUD, if it has like a visual that pops up when the number gets increased, we could add that off of here, whether we want it to be color specific or general. Ooh, interesting. Yes. Because I also need to refer to them. Always gotta connect your references. Let's clean this up a tiny bit. And yeah, that seems all right. All right, super simple function. Now that that's done, we could go to the color totem and call it from there. Essentially, we only wanted to do it once. So I've seen. Yeah. So that only powers it up if it's not, so we would just want to go off this code here, most likely. Or we could do a sequence that basically does the same thing as here. However, instead of a switch, we could do a select, which may be more efficient. Boom. Let's plug this into here. Get this up a tiny bit. And essentially, we have our cast2. We could call our function that we just made. What was it called? Something, yeah, I'd call it score. And let's do this in here. There we go. And we could also use the color to select the amount. So select, or actually, no, we don't, because technically this just already solves that issue. So we're just going to put 1, because anytime you activate that, it should be +1. Or the totems are always going to be 1. So that. Let's put a comment, keep it organized. Go something along that. So essentially that should be working as intentionally. For now, I don't have anything else that necessarily needs to add the score to the player. However, we do want to have the door check your current score. So let's do that right now. So similar to the compare totems, we got a compare score that has absolutely nothing in it as of now. Simply put, we could do required scores, which is basically the same structure as the code scores. So if we break it, you'll see we got our RGB scores. And can't remember if I had put the check for the combined in the check requirements yet. I did not. Okay. Let's go back in here. And let's figure it out. So right off the bat, let's check if the door wants a combined amount of the score. So basically your total of points instead of checking for each individual color. And if that is true, then all we got to do is add these up. And compare if the required scores is less. Oops. There we go. Less than. Let's move this up here because we're going to have to cast to the what is it called? The game instance. Actually, since we have it here, might as well just copy here. Tiny bit faster. And we got to get our score. So get that. Break it, combine it, compare, all that good stuff. All right. Let's see if this is okay. Actually, no, let's put a less. No, if it's less, then it should, yeah, okay. So instead of having a less, let's do less or equal. Because even if these two are the same, it should work. Yeah. In order to save space, let's do this here. Or since I'm putting that one above, let's do greater or equal If this is greater or equal to the required amount, then we could progress. A bit simpler. All right. Always like to clean it up a tiny bit, and we can progress. So when it's combined, it'll do that. It'll return a good to go. So let's go back to our check requirements. Okay, so all we have for the other one is just a return node with a can open door. So let's do pretty much the exact same here. Return node, output can open door. And actually, once again, we don't need a branch because we could set this directly into here. So it'll just return it as it is. If it's bigger or not, then we're good to go. And in that case, let's set this up as well as can open door to can open door. And now the combined scores should work as intended. For the non-combined scores, it might take a little bit of work because we need to check individually each color's score if it's basically the same comparison that we have here, but for each individual one. So let's get that done. Actually, for the sake of we'll need it for both occasions, let's plug in the cast to game instance here rather than after, because we'll need them for both. There we go. And let's plug that into here again, kind of making it a bit simpler in a way. So now we got that. Let's make this for the other one. And essentially it'll be along the same lines, but a bit trickier. So let's add a return node. And plug in everything in between. So essentially we're going to need these again. And we could do it a couple ways. We could do it where it's a couple of selects, kind of comparing each other and deciding the values. Sure, let's save. We could also do a couple of other approaches. I do like the select one though. So let's go for that for now. Essentially, although I'm not sure if we can do a select off of directly off of this. So let's do a select off this. See where that goes. If do a bunch of if greater, nah. Yeah, might as well. Or sure, might as well. Yeah. However, we'll put this here. Essentially checking if we need to even check it in the first place. Once again, we'll be going with the selects. There we go. And essentially we could check if all of them are good to go. And even at that, I don't think we'll need that, because this could directly tell us if our comparisons are good. So right off the bat is checking if this is greater than 0, or if it's not greater than 0, then they are good to go. If they are greater than 0, then this is where the select for the comparisons need to be. So let's make ourselves a bit of room. And add a couple of these. These are basically just soft versions of branches. So if you don't want to have a bunch of these bad boys connected to the white line, then these kind of do the trick. They're a bit more bulky, but they save from like having to figure out, okay, where do I need to plug in the execution and then plug in like somewhere else, and then you might need to add sequences and blah blah blah. So this is all like softer way to do it. So there we go. And simply need to check if each one of these is greater than that now. So, or if each one of these is equal to greater, then it's a requirement. So greater equal. Boom and boom. Plug in these bad boys in here. And essentially having this determine if it's good to go. So if, let's say if we follow the red, if the red score is greater or equal to the required red score, if that is true, then we're good. If it's false, then it'll return false. Same for the others. Actually, I keep forgetting I don't need that if it's a Boolean, because we're already using Booleans as the values for the select. So I'll just plug these right in like that. Make it super tidy. And it's a bit messy, but it does the trick. And essentially just plug in into here. So that's good. And yes, okay, so that should do the trick. Let's actually see if this works now. So just for the sake of testing, I'm gonna copy this door over here. Boom. And let's say we need, easiest one would be the red. I'm gonna scale this really not properly, so it may or may not work anymore. Let's say we only need a red and it's not combined. So 1, you have the little 1, did that earlier, off camera. So right now I should have a score of absolute 0. Let's say we get this, it gives us a score, boom. And now I go up to this, it texts, and it does nothing. Okay. Let's see what happened here. All right. It either didn't fire this, which is totally fine, or it didn't add the score. So let's see if that is the case. Let's see. let's add a print string here, and that'll tell us if we get the score, which it should work. Also, see if the check requirements compare score return node, which does that. If the requirements not equal to 0, which it isn't. Wait, yes. First of all, let's see if this works. There we go. Boom. Hello has fired, which means that this should be good to go. I do have one, so let's see if the door fires. Oh, you know what? I think, did I not plug in the, okay, so I did plug in this here. Overlap if bar colors is greater than 0 and that's what's overlapping, then it should be fine. Oh, I see. I'm doing the wrong thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay. This should work. And if it does, thank you. Oh. Okay, well, the door broke, but it did work. So that is good to go. This was just a test door. Let's see if I do one green, one that, if the combined works. So let me do that real quick. Even though it'll be, I'll go for the blue instead, which would not be the red and the green that is required, but it will be the two that is required for the combined. So essentially negating however much you have, or for each specific color, right? I need to go here. I also might want to have the event fire. I don't think the event firing timing necessarily matters. It does work. We're good. All right. So that being said, we could delete this door. We could properly set this down the line when I kind of calculate and finish up this little area. So here's a little teaser as of the rest of the area that I did off camera. We'll be talking about that more in the devlog tomorrow. For now, considering we have the door checking for the score, we have the addition of the score being added to the player, let's do a bit of UX/UI stuff. Let me just double check something real quick. All right. So now that we have this, we go into our HUD very quickly. This is the simple HUD, which is just the little thingy thing that I'm forgetting the name of, the reticle or the crosshair. However, I'm not sure if I want to have the score show on the HUD as it is. As you might tell from me playing the game, I do really like having elements be in the world kind of immersive. So you see the health bar is kind of like a decal on the floor. If I get myself a color again, you'll see once again the bars are kind of decals on either side as well. So I might want to go that approach. I might have a world space widget appear on or next or on top of the character. I'm not sure, because keep in mind that the equipments are going to be kind of around the character anyways, so making sure that they don't intersect or the spacing is good may be interesting to figure out. Actually, I do think I want it as part of the HUD, and I think I'm going to have it appear kind of like right under the reticle, considering that when it happens, or I'm not sure, because I might remove the HUD when you go into one of the totems. Before we continue, I could also remove this here. Hmm. I guess for the sake of simplicity and for the sake of having something done for now, I'll put it in the HUD. And if I want to change it, the code's going to be there anyways, so I could just move it into like a world space widget or something along those lines. So let's add ourselves a couple text renders. I guess we can put it at the bottom along the bottom here and have them kind of just like appear occasionally. So let's move this bad boy here. Actually, since we're doing something similar, where is it? Let's go to the door and actually it won't show there. So let's go to doors, open this one up, because essentially I just want to do the same thing that happened here. Copy. So this will work. Okay, so I can't do that. Do I need to try this? And boom. Nope. Please. Oh, there we go. Okay. Knew it was something. So essentially, here's our little text setup. Can anchor it to the bottom. I also kind of want to animate the kind of like having it show, so let's do that. Might as well. So essentially, since these don't necessarily change, let's set up a very simple very simple visuals for it and get into the animation right after. I guess considering that, we could add a bit of an outline. That seems to be good. And now, very simply, bind the texts to their specific mounts. So let's go here. Let's go through here, grab this bad boy, and close that. Close the game mode. There we go. And get our color score. And right, break. Boom. And this was the red one, so boom, right there. I also want to maximal fractional, let's do 2. Very, very useful little addition to the text. It's just to set the fractions or the digits. It's pretty cool. And with that, we can just copy paste this. Oops. And put it in the other ones. So boom, bind, wait. Oh, that is the wrong thing I wanted to bind. Delete that. This. Binding. That. Go. They're very repetitive tasks, but when you have a bunch of things kind of doing the same thing with based on very similar things, but still slightly different, this is the process you kind of have to go through. But eventually it will work. I guess this is the perks of editing videos, is that you don't need to sit around through the pseudo boring stuff. But we're here, and we have to deal with it, so might as well. Okay. So double check. Right, I wanted to do the animation. So we could do. Actually, is there a reference to HUD as the player? I don't think I did. However, I could probably check. Nope. Where's the begin play? There we go. Set starter. So this is a bunch of starter stuff. Widgets, create HUD, add to viewport. So I don't have the reference to it, so might as well make a reference. Remote to variable. Boom. That's still connected, so whoop. There we go. All right, so now that we have this lovely variable here, we can call it ref as well. Put a that, boom, boom, and we could use that from the actual game instance whenever this is fired. I'd call score. Let's do it with the sequence because I like to keep my things kind of sectioned off if I can. Bring this over here. This over here. And cast to our player. Cast. Go. And essentially get our HUD reference. I think this will give us the widget directly, so let's set up the custom event for the animations. Go duplicate that. So now we have that. Since we're going to do the animation way, and since we're in a widget, timelines are redundant. So let's do this real quick. Let's add our animation. Call it score display movement. Essentially tracking the horizontal box and its transform. We specifically want the translation. I think it is not the X, so let's keep that as 0. Let's bring this to 1 second because we could change the speed of it, going from 0 to that. Let's add a that. Oop, wrong way. Bring this to maybe about there. essentially, boop, there we go. Let's give this a nice round number. And we're good to go. Perfect. Essentially, now everything is in order for that. We just need to tell it to actually do the animation. Animations, here we go. Get, we want to play animation forward on show. And we could set the playback speed if we want to. I think we'll keep it at 1 second for now. And, whoops. Actually, we just don't need to pop the ref. Actually, what am I doing? I need to reverse. Animation reverse on that. So essentially, do I want it? Or do I want to have it as... Yeah, considering that it'll only need to reverse based on it actually being played regularly, we could do this, add ourselves a retrievable delay of, let's say, just a second. Keep it simple. And play in reverse. So essentially that should be our score, its display, and all that good stuff done in under an hour, which is not bad, considering it's being streamed and all of that. All right, let's try this out. It did not work. Why did it not work? Okay. Let's try it again. It's always a minor oversight, I would assume. So it was meant to play there. Ah, I completely forgot to fire this when... Yeah, right here. Torb. Show? Of course. Yes, boom. There we go. Final key of the puzzle. Let's try this out. And essentially, everything should be connected to each other. We got our score. Could probably have it stay on the screen for a bit longer. That would be nice. It's maybe 3 seconds. Considering the animation for the thing is longer. And that'll be a lot of information to kind of look at the same time. So having the scores stay for longer is a bit of a good. Boom. All right. Unless we only want the display to show. Not sure. We'll keep it as is. I think it's fine. And essentially, I also want to show the display based on when you approach the door. I think this is where the... Yeah, I'm thinking of it, and I think having it be custom time for it to go away would be a bit better, I think. So actually, what we're going to do is we're going to add a input node here, or an input variable here, and let's say, oops, auto, if I could type, auto, wow, where's my A button? There we go. Auto hide, there we go. So auto hide, could Yeah, so let's play it here. We can do branch after this based on that. Auto hide is true, then there's that. If it is not, then it'll basically just stop there and wait, which means that now we could also have this. I think if this gets fired multiple times, then I think shouldn't matter. Yeah. Okay, should be fine. I don't think too many things are going to overlap with each other to mess with this too much. So if it does, I revisit the code and basically fix whatever's up with it. But from here, let's see. Let's add back our hide score. And just plug it in here. Boom. Put it snug there. Boom. So now essentially, I could have it where anytime it's added here, we could have it there. We could also check maybe if it was one of the smaller amounts, we could have it auto hide. If it's the bigger amount, nah, let's keep it like this. So essentially, let's keep this here, or let's take this here, let's add it to the door. So whenever you show up to the door, when it attempts to open, let's add ourselves a sequence here. Oops. So not only will it attempt to open the door, which is there, it'll also do this, which will not auto hide, and it will wait until, let's copy this, let's do this because it is a part of that, and let's do the open collision on and overlap. Check if it's the player. Check if it's the capsule component of the player. And if that's true, we are then going to do this and hide it. So this will basically have the display show as long as you're close to the door. So that should work. Again, if there's any other complications that show up with this, then I'll take care of them. That's interesting. Must be one of the autosaves, right? Yeah, one of the autosaves. You can not. There we go. Okay. In that case, I guess best way to show it would be to test it out with the big door over there. So interesting. That fires anyways. Why is that fire? Guess I'll look into it. Okay, boom. Interesting. Oh, okay. Wait, is it on? No, okay. Anyways, go up here. Boom. Okay, so entered the door. Oh, okay. So I think the collision of this door kind of goes along outside here. Okay, so back in and out. Right. Act this here. Boom. Also, should probably check if it stays with you once you die. It should, because it's part of the game instance, and only the player kind of gets killed when you die. So let's check this out. Yeah, score stays the same. Okay, interesting. Oh, yeah, that's what's going on. Okay. Considering the collision is on all of the doors, there's no check to... Yeah. Okay. So I also need this check here as well. Oop, wrong set of buttons. Go. This essentially only allows the rest of this code happen if the door is actually based on the scores, which is the only door that would need to tell you what the scores are in the first place. So let's do this. Check those, and it should negate any of the other doors essentially showing or hiding running this animation. Which means... Actually, let's test it out. Which means that whenever... Okay. The cogs in my head are turning a bit... Where is it? There it is. I'm gonna try to see if we spam the animation, if that's gonna cause any issues with the kind of like hide and unhide. No, okay, seems fine. Yeah, okay, seems fine. Alright, well I think that's it's very close to all I wanted to get done today. I don't have any too many notes or the like that I want to go over, or that I have in order to go over to see if I missed anything, so that should be it. Oh, actually, no, it is not it, because I wanted to do the same thing with the equipments. Yeah, let's do that. It'll take like another half hour to do that or so. So let's go back to our trusty, yeah, so everything is saved except for the auto. Our trusty debugging level, we do not want to save that. Interesting. Okay. All right. So essentially, we want to do a check for the equipments as well. While we have these available, which essentially means these bad boys right here. There we go. So does it have the known? We have the actual equipment, but we don't have the price. And actually the price is also based on, also based on this here. So let's check this out here. So it only has its color. First of all, let's make this progress bar fill up based on your color score. If I could find where that is. Ah, here we go, percentage. Create a bind for that. Let's get our color and switch on that in order to get the proper color for the bar and to check the proper score values. Let's grab our cast 2, nope, where is it? There we go. Oh no. I cast 2 instance. Pop it in here. Just move that down a bit. There we go. Grab our colors, or our score. Break that apart. Boom. And essentially, based on whichever is here, actually, screw the switch. We're going to do our trusty select. Once again, it's a bit more soft. You don't need to plug in the execute lines and all that, so should be a bit simpler. Plug in our color, and super simply, red to red, green to green, blue to blue. However, this is a percentage, or the percentage of the things, so essentially, what would be the maximum amount for the game? Because that's what we need to divide it by. Let's say 100. If you match 100 of any of the scores, then it is the max. Which may or may not lead to you being able to farm to 100 without necessarily doing many, if any, of the totems. Yeah, that's a design flaw or decision to tackle another day. Right now, we just want to make the number go up. So essentially, that should be that. Let's try it out, actually. Let's do a good old little debug thing here that will add score based on something. So let's get our 1, 2, and 3 to add RGB. 2 and 3. Oh, okay, so I don't have it anymore. Go back here, grab this. Actually, grab all of that. Essentially, boom. We want to set what's the best way to, because if I plug them there, then we're kind of screwed. Oh, well, we can do it one at a time. It's fine. Essentially, I'm just setting up a very quick debug way to add scores just to see if everything works fine. Obviously, this will not be in the final game. Maybe. We'll see. These 2 blue, or that to green, this to blue. Same here, green to green, boom, boom, and blue to blue. Yeah. So essentially, this should all be hooked up nice if I boop, 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 add myself a couple of each. So blue is filled up a tiny bit. Let's do like a ton of the red, just to see if that fills it up. It does. It's good. Green, I don't know how much I had. Very little, but it does show up. Essentially, we could also very quickly determine the color of the thing based on this, so might as well. Here, you tint or not. Background, fill image. Do I have to set the style individually? Oh no, okay. It's right here. Perfect. Great. Our trusty old select. Plug in our trusty old color. And set the colors based off that. So since it's only going to be RGB, we could just drop them in like this. And there is kind of a reason I'm going for not perfect green for whenever I put in the green. But that is to be delved into with the story. So I'll let you guys kind of discover that, or we'll discover it as we go on. But now, if we, once again, add a ton of the scores. Blue, green, yes, and red. Huzzah. Perfect. I wanted to do the scores based off, or the, you're able to buy the equipment based off the score, so let's do that super quick. I wonder if I could do it here. So we have each one of those. We have to have something that sets this up, right? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so one, it sets the equipment. I could also have it set the required score. So let's do that. Which also means we could do the calculations in the actual individual thingy things. Let's do this. And essentially, we could have the code there, or we could. No, let's put all the code in here. Might as well. Required score. Let that be a float. And we'll come back to that. I just want to. So we're gonna have to make some space after this with this set. Required score. Boom. So the first one's always going to be let's say 25, 50, 50, 75. For the sake of the two in the middle, you don't necessarily know, or I don't necessarily know which one the player is going to go for. They go for both at the same time, so I don't really want to lock one before the other. So let's do that. So required scores. I could have found a way to kind of automate this, probably using like an array or something along those lines, but it's a bit simple enough that this is probably fine. Let's set the color. Yeah, thinking about it, I probably should have put this in array, considering that they're all the same and they are listed as like an array index would be. Oh, lessons to be learned for next time. And 75, sure. Change these up around later on. But at least keep you coming to the what are they called? The landmarks. I may add a couple of other reasons for you to come back to a landmark. That's still uncertain. Still haven't really thought of that implication into the game design. Okay. However, we have this as the required scores. Let's go back to the bench slot. So these are bad boys here. And we could also known on button press. Yeah, so this is the button press that basically tells you if you can. So this is the branch that stops you or allows you to buy the thing. So let's work off of that. If equipment is known, if it's not unlocked, and whatever the function would be to check if you have the right amount of score. So let's do that real quick. Or check. Let's make it pure. So it's basically just giving me a value that I can plug in here. Let's go check. Of course, it doesn't have a return node, so let's turn node it up. We want it to be just a boolean saying score, enough score. Basically saying, hey, you have enough score, so proceed on. Let's do and boom. Very compact. And here's where we're going to have the business. All right. So essentially we got our required score, which changes based off of its location in the kind of shop here. And we're going to see if this, or if our current score, whatever it may be, is greater or equal than this. Boom. And if it is greater than equal, then true. If it's not, then false. Super simple. And essentially, we're going to get our... Oh, interesting. We don't give this the color value that this has. So essentially, we're going to have to go off this one, which is a bit more of a hassle. So let's select this. All right. Yeah, and this is why. Should be fine. If I... Aha, perfect. I'm going to grab our score from the game instance once again. Go. And plug in all the reds. All the blue, all the greens, all the blues. which is a bit of a tedious way to go about it considering the enum that I have. But it'll work. Essentially based on the equipment that it is. Do this. This could also be used to kind of gray out the option in case I ever add that, so that it can't be necessarily clicked. Should also equipment description. I'll add text. Oops. Reading binding. Yeah. So I'll format the text so that you could see the description and then the cost at the bottom. Or scratch that. I'm going to keep this actually as the card score. Considering they're never going to be a decimal, I don't need to change that. And I'm just going to pop it right there with another text render or a text box. Boom. No, not inside. Outside. Thank you. That. Do the whole aligning business. Okay, and drag it down. Oh, there we go. Center align it. All this jazz to make it look pretty. We could get the, I think, one of these. Right, which one is this? Go find out. Yeah, that'll work. And of course, make it have a pretty decent outline. 3 should be fine. So essentially, if we now go in here, we should see the prices. No, we don't, because we didn't set it up. Of course we didn't. There we go. Yeah, yep. All right. Back to business. Straight out again. And there we go. 25, 50, 50, 75, just how we like it. I can't get any of those because I don't have... Actually, let's see. If I give myself a ton... you probably not hear it, but I was spamming the keyboard button to give me some good stuff. Here we go. So, oh, that did set the text there too. Let's remove that and keep it down here. So I still can't get the equipment. Let's try now to see if this works. So I should be able to get that one, which I did. I should not be able to get any of these other ones. There we go. Haha. Perfect. Oh, almost perfect. Still need to change this to remove the binding. All right. That did not take too long at all. So we got the color system, or the color score system all figured out. Think of it kind of like a currency-ish. I'll have a lot more of these doors that require the score to be accessible and all that good stuff, kind of forcing the player to get all or most of the colors from the totems around the level. And yeah, so let's save all this good stuff. Wonder why it's still doing these auto levels. People testing, where is it? Ah, okay. It's still just there. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. So essentially, yeah, I think I'm quite happy with the progress we did today. Kind of a shorter-ish stream. We got some good stuff done. So if you've been skipping around through just seeing what the progress was like, I guess we could do a final little demonstration. So essentially, whenever we add a color to one of the totems like this, or if we do an alternate way to get score, you see at the bottom there, we get more score. We set up the HUD to kind of show that off. If let's say, I'll do the one for the blue one as well. Also showing you how it works with the big doors that rely on score. So this big door over there, once I get to it, you'll see that it relies on scores. So it requires a combined score of 6. Right now we have 2 because we have one red and one blue. Right now there's no way to kind of check it out as you're playing, so there's that. But if you go into the area of the door or close to the door, it'll show you your score at the bottom there, so 101. And if I leave the area of the door, it'll go away. And once again, adding the score. I can't show it here, but we also have the equipment kind of like shop landmark things that work with them too. So I guess I can show that real quick. Don't save that. Okay. We have these bad boys over here. So if I press 1, 2, and 3 real quick, just as debug ways to get more score, I'll be able to show you the progress bar now works. The equipments themselves now have prices that rely on that crowd score, and your progress relies on the specific color that you have. So actually, let me see if it works real time. It doesn't seem to. Actually, if I jump out and jump back in, it should. No? Okay, hold on. Oh, because while I'm in there, I don't think the player has control necessarily, so yeah, there we go. Now it added. So whole bunch of scores, numbers going up, equals happiness, equals dopamine, all that good stuff. And yeah, so if you enjoyed the stream, if you enjoyed the progression that we made, kind of like more in-depth or behind the scenes as to the production of Trapped on the FlipSide, then feel free to subscribe, of course, like the stream, and of course, tell me in the comments if you see anything that I might have overlooked, or if there's any better ways to do something, or if you have any ideas, or if you just want to say hi or say how cool the stuff we're doing is, then that is super appreciated. Don't be shy. As for that, I've been Tim from Time Moth Games, and this has been the first production stream for the functionality of the game. So we'll be having a couple more of these kind of streams too, really focusing on the mechanics, the programming, and all that good stuff behind everything you see here. And yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna have a dev stream. I try to keep the streams at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so I'll be talking a lot more about the level design that I've done off camera, as well as a couple of things. And yeah, so I hope you guys I hope to see you guys there. And with that, I'll end today's stream. Have a nice one, guys. See you guys tomorrow.